नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयम् उदीरयेत् नष्टप्रायेष्व भद्रेषु नित्यं
भद्रेषु
भागवत सेवया
नित्यं
भगवति
सेवया
श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नंदनाय च नंदगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। Hare Krishna. So today we will be discussing chapter number 25, and this is a very important chapter. Let me share my screen. Anybody remember what was the topic of the last week's chapter?
Renunciation of Kardamuni.
Yes.
Kardamuni.
Renunciation of Kardamuni or appearance of Bhagavan Kapil Dev. Very nice. So today's chapter is chapter 25, which is titled Glories of Devotional Service. And we will discuss this last verse. So last week we discussed Kardamuni, he takes sannyas, and Mother Devhuti, he leaves Mother Devhuti in the care of their son, who is Bhagavan Kapil. Kapil Muni, Kapil Dev, Bhagavan Kapil. Now Mother Devhuti goes up to Bhagavan Kapil Dev. Pitri prasthite ranyam. After father went to the forest, Bhagavan Kapil Dev stayed Matu Priya Chikirshaya, to do good for the mother. Priya is for her welfare. Bhagavan Kapil Dev stayed there at Bindu Sarovar, same place where Kardam Rishi was staying. And Mother Devhuti now goes and she surrenders to Bhagavan Kapil and she asks various questions. We'll discuss those questions. So let's discuss this verse and then we will talk a little bit more. Please repeat. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 एतवानेव लोकेऽस्मिन् एतवानेव लोकेऽस्मिन् पुंसां निःश्रेयस्योदयः पुंसां निःश्रेयसोदयः तीव्रेण भक्तियोगेन तीव्रेण भक्तियोगेन
yogena
Manomayarpitam sthiram.
manomayarpitam sthiram
Manomayarpitam sthiram.
manomayarpitam sthiram.
Word by word translation. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki. Please repeat. Etavan eva.
Etavan eva
Only so far.
only so far
Lokesmin.
lokesmin
In this world.
in this world
Pumsam.
pumsam
Of men.
of men
Nishreyasa.
nishreyasa
Final perfection of life.
final perfection of life.
Udaya.
Udaya
The attainment of.
the attainment of
Tivrena.
prevail
Intense.
intense
Bhakti yogena.
bhakti yogena
By practice of
by practice of
devotional service.
devotional service.
Mana.
Mana
Mind.
mind
Mai.
mind
In me.
in me
Arpitam.
arpitam
Fixed.
fixed
Sthiram.
sthiram
Steady.
steady.
Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki.
Jai.
Please repeat. Therefore,
Therefore,
persons
persons
whose minds are fixed
whose minds are fixed
on the Lord
on the Lord
engage
engage
in the
in the
intensive practice of
intensive practice of
devotional service.
devotional service.
That is the
That is the
only means
only means
for attainment of
for attainment of
the final
the final
perfection of life.
perfection.
Yeah. Once again, please repeat. Therefore,
Therefore,
persons
persons
whose minds are fixed
whose minds are fixed
on the Lord
on the Lord
engage
engage
in the intensive
in the intense
practice of
practice of
devotional service.
devotional service.
That is the only means
That is the only means
for attainment of
for attainment of
the final
the final
perfection of life.
perfection.
So we will skip recitation today because we've lost few minutes earlier on. So please hear the purport, and because the topic will require a bit extended time today. So let's save some time. Please hear purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki. Here the words Manomai Arpitam, which means the mind being fixed on me, are significant. One should fix his mind on the lotus feet of Krishna or his incarnation. To be fixed steadily in that freedom is the way of liberation. To be fixed steadily in that freedom. So freedom and liberation. So liberation through that freedom is a way of liberation. Amrish Maharaj is an example. He fixed his mind on the lotus feet of the Lord. He spoke only on the pastimes of the Lord. He smelled only the flowers and tulsi offered to the Lord. He walked only to the temple of the Lord. He engaged his hands in cleaning the temple. He engaged his tongue in tasting the foodstuff offered to the Lord. And he engaged his ears for hearing the great pastimes of the Lord. In that way, all his senses were engaged. First of all, mind should be engaged at the lotus feet of the Lord very steadily and naturally. Because the mind is the master of the senses, when the mind is engaged, all the senses become engaged. That is Bhakti Yoga. Yoga means controlling the senses. The senses cannot be controlled in the proper sense of the term. They are always agitated. This is true also with a child. How long can he be forced to sit down silently? It is not possible. Even Arjun said, Chanchalam hi manah Krishna. The mind is always agitated. The best course is to fix the mind on the lotus feet of the Lord. Manomai arpitam sthiram. If one seriously engages in Krishna consciousness, that is the highest perfection stage. All Krishna conscious activities are on the highest perfectional level of human life. You know, Krishna speaks to Arjun, Param Drishtva Nivartate. So, same focus, same desires, we just have to direct them to the higher taste. You can't control it, you can't force it. You just have to find the higher taste and take them there. You can't rein them, you can't pull them back inside. You have to take them to the higher taste. So it is very important. Bhakti ki parakashta. मन जो है मन भगवान के चरणों में स्थिर होके लग जाए, that is the topmost perfection service. We cannot do it mechanically, right? We have to do it through the process of bhakti. And Bhagavan Kapil Dev will now explain to Mother Devaki in this chapter. Yeah. So let's do Manglacharan and then we will discuss further. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupah Kada Mayyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padkamlam Shri Gurum Vaishnavam Cha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatha Pitantam Sajivam Savadetam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakha Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Shri Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Shri Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishnu Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarobhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Bhute Mahadhir Yaima Puro Vibho Nirmaya Shete Yadamosha Purusha Bhumte Gunansho Dashasho Dashatmakam Solanka Srishta Bhagavan Vachamsi Me Shri Krishna Sharanam Nagatam Katha Amritam Satat Pibatam Bhakti Vedanta Marga Pantanam Sarvaloka Rishide Janma Prasannam Sarvaloka Rishideva Janma Prasannam. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji and Mataji. May the Supreme Lord decorate my tongue. May the right word come at the right time. May we are truly able to glorify the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Serve Srila Prabhupada, Guru Maharaj, and all the living entities. Shri Srila Partha Sarthi Bhagavan ki Jai. So, these chapters now from 3rd canto, chapter number 25 to 32, they are also referred to as Sankhya Yoga. So we'll try to, unpack that, the word that these days they use, try to understand a little bit. What does that mean? But before that, sannyas. We hear the word sannyas. What does it mean? It's important to understand that also because Kardan Muni, renunciation of Kardan Muni, he took sannyas. in the last chapter. Once in one of our temples, they took a young student, young person joined. He was in his 20s. He joined the temple and he decided to stay in the brahmachari ashram. Now his father came to the temple and he complained to the temple president. He said, "You have kept my son here. He should not be here and he should be going back." And in India, it's very prominent. They recruit like hundreds of, students or brahmacharis, people who are genuinely interested in that. So he joined. And a lot of time, the parents come there, speak at a sentimental level. Mother is crying, father is crying. मेरे बच्चे की अभी उम्र ही क्या है? अभी तो इसने कुछ देखा ही नहीं है. He has to see the world. He has to do all of this. They come and they say all those kind of pleas or reasons. And the temple presidents, they are all trained how to respond to them, because they experience this. But on this instance, this father comes and he challenged the temple president. He said, as per Vedic system, you cannot keep my son here. He has to go through brahmacharya, he has to go through grast, and only then he can join your ashram. Out of 4 sampradaya, Shri Vishnu sampradaya, in that sampradaya, you can't become a sannyasi unless you have been a grast. You have to have been a grast, and only then you can take sannyas. And that is the reason you don't see so many preachers from Shri Sampradaya these days. Because by the time they reach their 50s and the grast ashram today is so entangling, they are not able to go out, and so preaching, you don't see so many preachers. Out of 4 Sampradaya, Shri Sampradaya says that. And he quoted, Panchordavam Vanam Vrajet. Panchas Ordhavam Vanam Vrajet. When you are 50 plus, then you should go to the forest. And he said that to the temple president. And temple president says, yes, you're right. You may take your son. But then he stopped the father. He said, what is your age? And father said, I'm 55 or something. He said, then as per Vedic system, Panchodhavam Vanam Vrajet, it applies to you. And we have a Vanprastha ashram also in the temple. If you want to move in the temple, you can come and stay here. There is arrangement for you. And then father said, okay, if you want to keep my son, keep him. My son will decide whether he wants to stay or he wants to leave. Yeah. So it's very important, where that we understand where, as an individual, we are heading. What my thoughts are. At the end of the 4th chapter, Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna tells Arjuna, Yogam Atishta Uttishta Bharata. Yogam Atishta. Oh, Arjuna, stay in the yoga. Atishta, Yogam Atishta. Fix in the yoga, as in Karam yoga. Fix in the Karam yoga and Uttishta, and fight. And the 5th chapter. 4th chapter, sorry, last verse. And in the 5th chapter, beginning of the 5th chapter, Arjuna questions Lord Krishna. He says, Sannyasam karmanam Krishna punar yogam sansasi yat shreya etayor ekam tanme bruhi sunishtita. He says, you first said sannyas. Karm se sannyas le lo. Sannyasam karmanam Krishna. You asked me to take sannyas from the karma. And then punar yogam chu sansasi. And now you're glorifying the yoga again, which is karma yoga. Yeah, simplified. And then you say, yes, shreya. Out of these two, shreya, which is shreyashkar, which is more important, tanme bruhi sunnishchit. आप मुझे निश्चय करके बता दो इन दोनों में से कौन सा ठीक है. संन्यास और कर्म दोनों में से कौन सा ठीक है. Then Krishna speaks to Arjuna. He says, Sannyasa karma yogascha nishreyas kara ubhav tayo astu karma sannyasat karma yogo vishishyate. Please focus. So he says, yes, Arjuna. Yeah. Karma yoga and sannyas, both of them, they both are shreyas karma. They both will do good to you. But tayo astu, of these two, karma sannyasat karma yogo vishishyate. Taking sannyas from the karma, not doing karma. Doing karma in yoga is more prominent. Yeah. Doing karma in yoga is more prominent. Yeah. And then he further goes on to say that Gneyah sanitya sannyasi yona dveshti na kankshati. Yeah. Nirdvando hi mahabaho sukham bandhat pramuchyate. Yeah. Let's understand this background. Very important. And then he says to, hey Arjuna, Gneyah sanitya sannyasi. Let it be known, or please know, that that person is always a sannyasi. Yona dveshti na kankshati. Who does not dvesh, who is not envious of others, who is not jealous of others, who does not hold ill feeling for others, and who does not have any expectations. They are always in sannyas. Nirdvando, who are above the duality. It's very difficult, but let's at least understand the principle and then how we can apply it to individuals. Yeah? Nirdvando, he mahabaho. And now he's saying, oh mahabaho, sukham bandhat pramuchyate. Mahabaho is, it's like a katash. It's like a taunt to someone. You are mahabaho. You are so strong. Sukham bandhat pramuchyate. But is bandhan se tum sukh purvak, you can very easily release yourself from this bandhan. So what Krishna is saying is, your status of being a mahabahu will not help. You understand? You could be Mahabali, you could be Mahabali. You could have said it, Nirdvando hi Arjun, Nirdvando hi Kaunteya. But he's saying Mahabali. Please focus. You could be however strong you may be. But if you are situated in that position, you can easily release yourself from that bandhan. So what matters is, it does not matter how strong you are, how rich you are, how opulent you are. What matters is where your Chaitanya is, where your thought process is. So you can easily come out of that. If you are poor, if you are rich, does not matter. You can always be a sannyasi. So going to forest, that's the point I'm trying to link to. Going to forest, like people say, out of frustration, if you leave the family life, it does not work like that. That is the point we have to understand. We sometimes use this word very loosely. And then next Krishna goes on to speak about the Sankhya. Sankhya is it. So we clear on sannyas aspect of this. Yeah? And why Krishna is asking Arjuna to work. Yeah? Karma yoga. Right? Karma sannyas se karma yoga is better. Do your karma, but it should be connecting to Krishna. That is karma yoga. Anything you do. Na yunjaya manaya bhaktya. Bhagavan Kapil will say the same. We'll come to that now. Now Sankhya yoga. Sankhya, let's understand the definition, or I will do my best. And let me share screen. So let's read what our acharyas have said, and it will make more sense. These 8 chapters, Prabhuji Mataji, as I said, Srila Prabhupada, when he was in the Juhu temple, Prabhupada did a series of lectures, teachings of Lord Kapil. And they are now put into book form, teachings of Lord Kapil, you said. And in the foreword, His Holiness Sattva Swarup Goswami Maharaj, he has given a forward in this, and he has tried to explain Sankhya. Sankhya literally means Sankhya, number, if you understand. That is one understanding. Second understanding is Sankhya also means separates division or a separation from material and spirit. Another way to understand is you are watering the tree, and through watering the tree, you are watering the root of the tree. Or you are finding the root of the tree. Please understand. You are trying to find the root of the tree, or you are watering the tree. Devotional service, you are watering the root of the tree. In Sankhya, you are trying to find the root of the tree. But after you find the root of the tree, what will you do? You'll again come back up and start watering the tree. Right? Right? We have this tendency, find out, करे ये कहाँ आया कहाँ से? प्रभु कहाँ से मिला जुगाड़ क्या है? पहले जुगाड़ समझाओ. Right? कैसे हुआ? वो कहते हैं आपको आम खाने पेड़ गिनने हैं. नहीं, हमें तो पहले पेड़ गिनना है, पहले समझ में आया ये हुआ कैसे. So that is our mental, so Sankhya comes there. गिन रहे हैं हम उसको, we try to find. This is very simplistic definition. So these chapters, Prabhuji Mataji, Uddhav Gita, 11th canto, and in 3rd canto, this conversation with Mata Devhuti and Kapil Bhagavan. These conversations are quoted by our acharyas to establish the siddhant, to establish the principles in many places. In the next chapter, Bhagavan Kapil Dev will explain very nicely. Sometimes we use the terms Chetana, mind, intelligence. We don't know. We use them very loosely. In the next chapter, Bhagavan is described. Please read next time you come, chapter 26. Very clearly, he is described as per their functionality. Hriday, Chetna, Man, mind, intelligence. You see these terms. If you care for, if you are of that mindset, or other mindset is, you just, whatever Krishna has spoken, you just take it and you just follow it. But if you really like to do, क्या बोलते हैं, postmortem करना है आपको, ठीक है, करो फिर. Prabhupada used to say, you are sick, just accept it, you are sick, and take the medicine, or try to find out why you became sick. Now you go around and find out, okay, I got sick because in the morning I left home, then I stopped at Macquarie Field Station. At Macquarie Field Station, I spoke to that person. He could have had that infection. No, maybe not him. But then I went to the work. At the work, I ate my lunch with that person. Maybe that person had an infection. Because of him, I'm sick. And then I'm calling these people, Prabhuji, aapne kya kar diya? Mera to bimar kar diya. Then by the evening, my opinion changes. No. It is because of that Prabhu. He could have made me sick. And by the evening, I come home, I'm completely down. And then your wife says, दवाई लेके सो जाओ. बहुत research हो गई. Right? किससे बीमार हो? So that's the mindset. Yeah. So we understand Sankhya. Yeah? Now let me read this. Please hear. Now what is Sankhya? Insofar as Sankhya deals with the elemental categories or principles of the physical universe. Sankhya is what Western scholars generally refer to as metaphysics. The term Sankhya literally means to count. This name is used because Sankhya philosophy enumerates principles of cosmic evolution by rational analysis. Matter, Prakriti. Prakriti kaise aayi? How it has come about, all those, You're doing that analysis, but then what is the conclusion? Everything has come from Krishna. This came from this came from this, but this came from Krishna. So the root is Krishna. Now go and worship Krishna. If you want to go to that way, do that. You are analyzing your own body. What this part doing? Why this? So that's, you are trying to analyze the Prakriti, or to understand difference between Prakriti and Purusha. Yeah, that's also another. This name is used because Sankhya philosophy enumerates principles of cosmic evolution by rational analysis. The etymological, ये उसका meaning मुझे भी समझ नहीं आया. Meaning of the word Sankhya is that which explains very lucidly the analysis of material elements. Philosophically, this term is used because the Sankhya system expounds analytical knowledge that enables one to distinguish between matter and spirit. Ultimately, what the goal is to understand that we are spirit, we are not this body. And very often we say, you are not this body, you are not, you are soul. But then what does that statement mean? What is that body? If you don't understand what is that body, then how do you understand what is the soul? Right? Very often we say, because our acharyas repeat, we also repeat, you are not this body, you are a soul. Well, then what does body mean? So in this process, you try to analyze that, but ultimately it will lead to, okay, everything came from Krishna. This understanding culminates in bhakti, devotion for and service to the Supreme. It may be said, therefore, that Sankhya and Bhakti form two aspects of the same process. Bhakti being the ultimate goal or ultimate aspect of Sankhya. Yeah. Yeah. So I think we'll just stop it here. We understand the meaning of Sankhya. Yeah. And then it is also related to the Jnana Yoga. Sankhya, you can say it's Jnana Yoga. Right? Yeah. And Krishna then in Bhagavad Gita, very briefly, second chapter is Sankhya Yoga. If you like, second chapter is titled Sankhya Yoga Bhagavad Gita, if you know that. So in there, Krishna, that is what he's explaining. Body, you're not this body, you are soul, isn't it? So that's the very basic level. But here Bhagavan Kapil has elaborated. And Mata Dehuti is asking very question. Through this process, it will become clear what it is if you care for, right? And it culminates into chapter number 32. So the next 8 chapters. That's what I'm thinking. This year, I think that's what we will do. And then before we take a break, so another 8 sessions. We have one hall program coming in between, and then we'll break for the December. Yeah. So let's be prepared. Let's aim ourselves. And the last chapter, Bhagavan describes how the child in the womb, all of. But that is the whole point. Right? Then in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna also talks about that Sankhya Yoga Prithak Bala Pravadanti na Pandita. Yeah. So Sankhya is Jnana Yoga. Yeah. Sometimes people say Jnana Yoga is different from the Bhakti Yoga, but Krishna is saying no, it is not separate. Right? Sankhya Yoga Prithak Bala Pravadanti na Pandita. Bala, people who are less intelligent, they say it is different. But jo Pandit hai, wo usko different nahi mante. Right? And if one is situated in any one of them, Ubhayor Vindate Phalam. Etayor Ekam Api Asthitas Samyag Ubhayor Vindate Phalam. If you are situated in one of them, Pakka, completely, you get the fruit of both. So there is no difference in Sankhya Yoga and Bhakti Yoga. That's the reason I'm saying that is in that assembly where Shukdev Goswami was speaking, all people from all the faith and beliefs were sitting there. Remember I mentioned once that sometimes because we are studying Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, we think we are studying the higher taste. We are studying the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, which is bhakti and all those feelings. And sometimes we try to undermine other thoughts or what other people are doing. But in that assembly, everybody was there. Some of them had told Parikshit Maharaj, "Aap Ashtanga Yoga karo, aap yajna karo, karma kand karo." We'll be able to. So all of them were sitting there. So Shukdev Goswami, but he's inclusive. This is all inclusive. That is an important aspect. Right? So we should not look down like we often quote, Traigunya Vishya Vedanis Traigunya Bhavarjuna. वेद 3 गुणों के बारे में बात करता है उसको छोड़ दो. No. So we have to be all inclusive. So it is not separate because ultimately it is their journey. From Sankhya Yoga, from Jnana Yoga, they will also go to Bhakti Yoga. I often say if you go into Haridwar, you're going from Australia, somebody coming from America, somebody coming from Nepal, they have different routes, but ultimately they will go to Haridwar, they will go to Ganges. So it is like that. Everyone has their own journey, so they are not different. Yeah. So that's the background. Okay, so now let's go back to our discussion. Now this is the foundation, or this is the context, setting the context. We understand sannyas and we understand the Sankhya. Now, in the 25th chapter. Okay, now let me share my screen again. Now, what is included in chapter number 25th? See my screen? Chapter is titled Glories of Devotional Service. Now again, same setup. Shaunakadi Rishi, they are asking questions from the Sut Goswami. Sut Goswami is sitting there and Sut Goswami is narrating what Shukdev Goswami had spoken to Parikshit Maharaj. Now up to now they have heard about that Kardan Rishi took sannyas and now they are eager to hear more about Bhagwan Kapil. So Shaunak Rishi is asking now Sut Goswami, yeah, Kapila Tattva Sankhyata Bhagwan Atma Maya Jatah Swayam Ajah Sakshat Pragnaptaye Atma Pragnaptaye Nrana. So the question is, Shaunak Rishi is saying is that, O Sut Goswami, Bhagwan Kapil Dev, who is Tattva Sankhyata, who is going to establish the Sankhya philosophy, or who is going to elaborate on the Tattva. Very often we use the word Tattva, right? Sankhya Tattva के बारे में जो बताएंगे, भगवान आत्मा माया, with his own internal potency, right? Jatah Swayam Ajah Sakshat, who is Aj, who is unborn, but by his own internal potency he appeared. Jatah Swayam Sakshat, personified. He appeared, right? And why did he appear? Atma Pragnaptaye Nirnam. Right? For the Nirnam, we are all called Nirnam, the human beings. Nar, right? He appeared to give them the Atma Gyan, the knowledge of the self, so that they can realize themselves. That Supreme Lord appeared. Right? And this knowledge is only applicable to the Nirnam, people who are Nar, or who is willing to take shelter of Narayan. That is why we are called Nar, because we are ready to or willing to take shelter of Narayan. Otherwise, everyone else is in the animal mode, with the animalistic propensity. They don't want to take the shelter. They don't want to surrender to the Supreme Lord. So they are as good as animals. So this science or this education is applicable to the Nirnam. Very clear boundaries has been set. For animals, what did you speak? भैंस के आगे बीन, क्या बोलते हैं? भैंस के आगे बीन बजाने वाली बात है ना? So then there is no point. So very focused attention. And they saying that he is the Varmani Sarva Yogina. He is the topmost of the yogis. Bhagavan Kapil Dev, we have heard he is the greatest of the yogis, right? We want to know about him. Yad yad vidhatte Bhagavan Atma Maya. Whatever he did, whatever his activities were, Bhagavan Atma Maya, by his internal potency. Swachand. Yad yad vidhatte Bhagavan Swachand Atma Maya, who is free to do any activities that he likes with his own sweet will. He comes and he performs his pastimes. See, before they ask the question, they are glorifying the Supreme Lord. Like I said, it's very important to understand the position. And then we will be able to accept that. You know, as they say, the water will flow from top to down only, not from down to up. So if you see the Lord there, then he will be able to see you. Right? That is the mood. So they are glorifying the Supreme Lord. That Bhagavan, whatever he did, yad yad vidhatte Bhagavan. Right? And then she said, Tani me shraddhadanasya. With full shraddha, with full faith. Right? Kirtanayani anukirtaya. His actions which are to be sung, his pastimes which is worthy to be sung, right? Please sing those pastimes of the Supreme Lord. I am in full Shraddha. We are in full Shraddha. We have come here with full faith. We don't have any doubt about the position of the Supreme Lord. So we have full faith. Now please speak to him. जब आपको भूख लगेगी तभी तो आपको भोजन भी पसंद आएगा. भूख ही नहीं है तो फिर क्या फायदा? So that's the mood they are saying, Shaunakadi Rishi. We are fully surrendered with a full Shraddha, full faith. Please talk to us. Please talk to us about the Supreme Personality of God. And then Sud Goswami starts speaking and he says that Bhagavan, his pastime is being described by Dvaipayan Sakha Maitreya. So this proves Dvaipayan is Vyasdev. Vyasdev's friend is Maitreya. They were all going to, they had the same guru. They went to same Gurukul. That's why they were friends. He says Maitreya, who is friend of Dvaipayan Vyas, and whatever he described to Vidurji, I am going to repeat the same to you now. So they have asked the questions. So this is Shaunak Rishi's eagerness to hear about Kapil Dev. So this is the first 4 verses. Now in the 5th verse, then he starts talking about that Supreme Lord Bhagavan, Pitri Prasthite Ranyam. Now Maitreya starts speaking to Vidurji that when Father Kardan Rishi went to the forest, then Matu Priya Chikirshaya, to do good out of love for his mother, Bhagavan Kapil Dev, he was sitting nicely. Yes, that's Bhagavan Kapil Dev. You sitting? Bhagavan Kapil Dev, he was sitting there. And another point I want to highlight is, even though he stayed there at Bindu Sarovar, our Acharya says, Kardan Rishi, when he took sannyas, that aerial mansion was still there. You got to understand the sannyas. That whole aerial mansion, it had hundreds of rooms. It had, the gold, the doors were made of the gold. There were diamonds all over in the walls. There were so many swimming pools. There were seasonal birds. There were fruit trees. There were flower trees. Everything was there. And Kardan Rishi just walked away. He says, what I want to do? He says, I want to parivrajat asthito aham. He told Bhagavan Kapil Dev that I want to become a Privrajaka Charya. Right? And I keep you in my heart. I keep you in my heart, and then I just want to roam around. He left that palace straight away without a tinge of attachment. That's the sannyas. He left. Now he left one day. Bhagavan Kapil Dev, after he had finished his morning prayer routines, he was sitting there, and Mother Devhuti now goes to him and she starts speaking to him. Swasutam Devhuti aha. Mother Devhuti spoke to her son. Dhatu vismrito vacha. Dhatu is Brahmaji. What Brahmaji had said, she remembered those words, and now she went to her son and she started speaking to her son. See, now she's surrendered there. And what did Brahmaji had said to her? Jnana Vijnana Yogena Karmanam Uddharan Jata. Right? Hiranyakesha Padma Aksha Padma Chinna Padambuja. Esh te garbha esh manasi te garbham pravishto kaitab ardana avidya samshaya chindam avidya samshaya granthim chitva gamvi charishyati. Brahmaji, when he had come, he had told Mother Devhuti that Supreme Personality of Godhead, वो ज्ञान और विज्ञान के योग से जटा, as in granthi, right? He will break away karma granthi uddharan. He will break away that granthi of the karma. And he also described the symptoms of the Supreme Lord. He will have golden hair. You see Bhagavan Kapil, he has golden hair. Hiranyakesha, Padma Akshay, lotus-eyed. And that Supreme Lord has entered your womb, Devhuti, who is the killer of Kaitab Ardhana. Why Madhu and Kaitab described here? Do you know Kaitab? They took away, they stole the Vedas. So in this context, because he's giving the knowledge, so see, this is how our acharyas, you look at their words. Watch the words. When you watch your words, when you speak to someone, he's referring Kaitab Ardhana because Kaitab had taken the Vedas. Remember, this Madhu and Kaitab, they stole the Vedas from Brahmaji. And that's when Bhagwan took that. Which incarnation was it? वो घोड़े वाला incarnation क्या बोलते हैं? Hayagriva. Hayagriva Bhagwan ki. So the Supreme Lord took the form of Hayagriva and he killed these demons and he brought their knowledge back. So that Supreme Lord Brahma ji is saying that Bhagwan who killed Kaitav, hey Devhuti, he has entered your womb. Avidya samshaya granthim, and your avidya, ignorance or samshaya, your doubt, उस ग्रंथि को भगवान छिंद कर देंगे. That knot of avidya and ignorance and doubtfulness, the Supreme Lord will break away that, and after doing that, chitva gamavi charishyati, he will go and roam around and he will spread this knowledge of Gyan. So Devhuti remembered that statement. She remembered that statement and now she goes and surrenders to the Supreme Lord after remembering that. And now as she goes, she just goes down to the Bhagwan and she starts speaking. Nirvinnani tarang bhumanna asat indriya tarshana yena sambhavyamanena prapanna andham tamato. So she is saying, my dear Lord, nirvinnam. वो कहते हैं मैं पक गई, I'm disgusted. Nitaram, very much disgusted. Of what? Asat indriya tarshanat. These senses which are asat, not sat. कहती है भगवान मैंने बहुत भोग भोगे, अब मैं पक चुकी. Enough. No, you remember we spoke. They were in the aerial mansion for thousands of years. Thousands of years. Vihar kiya, sab kuch dekha. All kind of food stuff, all kind of opulence. She had association with Kardam Muni. 9 daughters were born. Kardam Muni took 9 forms to have association with her. 9 forms, so that 9 daughters were born at one time. This is for us to understand. So she is saying, बहुत भोग भोगे भगवान, अब मैं भोगों से पक चुकी. बहुत. And येन संभव्य मानेना. And how are these senses? Okay, this is it. As you say, आज 2 गुलाब जामुन खा लिया, बस प्रभु अब कल तो मैं देखूंगा नहीं. 1 खाया अच्छा लगा, 2 खाया अच्छा लगा, 3 खाया अच्छा लगा, 4 खाया, बस प्रभु मर जाऊंगा, यहां तक भर गया. अगले दिन सुबह आती है, गुलाब जामुन तो अच्छे. राइट? सब कुछ साफ हो गया, फिर से वही सेम थिंग. राइट? That's what Mata Devi is saying. आज बस आज, this is it, no more. Sometimes जो people who drink alcohol, they say बस आज खत्म, आज के बाद नहीं. But so that's how our senses are, right? And see, Bhagwan is her son. She's not taking any mechanical process or trying to control the mind. She's just gone surrendered to the Supreme. And now we'll see how through this process she will be. She's already elevated. It's for our benefit. So she's saying, my dear Lord, मैंने बहुत भोगा, और भोगते भोगते प्रपन्न अंधम तमा प्रभु, I have fallen into a andh tama, like a coop, like a well of darkness. I have fallen into that. Please help me. And then she further goes on to say that, my dear Lord, after many years, Sat Chakshur Janmanam Ante. This is not her first birth. That's what she is saying. And she's the daughter of Manu Maharaj. So she herself is saying that this is not my first birth. So how can this be your first birth? Right? Sat Chakshur Janmanamante. She says, after many births, my dear Lord, I have gotten you as my Sat Chakshur, as my eyes. Om Ajnana Timirandhasya, how we do that. So now I have got you as my eyes through your instructions, which are like Surya Iva. Chakshu Surya Ivo Udita. You have arisen like a sun. How the sun comes out, then all the darkness dissipates. All the darkness goes away. Yeah. ता कृष्ण वाहे वसुदेव आगते स्वयं वयवरन्ते यथा तम भवे. When Vasudev ji is carrying Lord Krishna in his arms, Shukdev Goswami describes, as he is carrying Krishna in his arms, the doors open. Ta Krishna vahe Vasudev agate swayam vyavarante yatha tamorave. As the sun comes and all the darkness dissipates, goes away. Now when Vasudev ji was carrying Krishna in his arms, the doors opened outside. So Guru Maharaj very nicely says on this thing that if he was carrying Krishna in his arms, but if anybody is carrying Krishna in their hearts, then all the darkness, all the obstacles will be blown away, will be thrown away automatically. That is the potency of carrying Krishna. So similarly, Mother Devuti is saying that, my dear Lord, you have appeared as a son, and you have appeared by your own mercy. You appeared as a son, and you have appeared by your own mercy. मेरा कुछ नहीं है इसमें. I haven't done anything. You know, when we preaching, when we are spreading Krishna consciousness, sometimes people try to take credit. You know, I told you about Krishna. I told you about Krishna. No, who are you to take credit? Krishna appears by himself. Her son, she is telling her son, you by your mercy only that I have got you. You know? And then she makes a surrender, and then she asks the first question. Mother Devuti asking 4 questions, and we'll go in this chapter. There are only 2 questions answered, and the next chapter further questions. Yeah. So she asked 1 question, and now she says the Supreme Lord, as if Bhagwan पूछ रहे हैं, Mother, आप क्या चाहते? What is the reason for your darkness? What is the reason for you feeling that, you know, I'm entangled into this? So she says, Athme Deva Sammoham. Apa Krishtum Tvam Arhasi. Yo avagraho aham mameti iti etasmin yojitastvaya. So what Mother Devuti is telling Bhagwan Kapil Dev is that, my dear Lord, because of your maya, because of your external energy, I am entangled into aham mameti iti, me and mine. I'm entangled into this cycle of me and mine. Right? But you please be merciful to me. Tvam arhasi apa krishtum sammoham. ये जो मेरा सम्मोह है, illusion है, you please cut that सम्मोह. You please release me from this illusion, and that illusion is created by your maya. So only you can liberate me from that illusion. Now the question might come, why does Lord first put us under his maya? और फिर हमको कहते हैं हमारी प्रार्थना करो तभी मैं तुम्हारा बंधन खोलूंगा. ये तो अच्छा ब्लैकमेल चल रहा है. Right? Somebody can argue that, but mind you, it is first we. Remember what Mahaprabhu says? Bahir mukha jeev bhog vancha kare nikatastha maya tar jhapatiya de. First you, bahir mukha. Bahir mukha is you are looking outside. You are looking for happiness outside. You are looking outside for happiness. As soon as you are looking happiness outside, nikatastha maya. Maya is just waiting next door. वो आपके साथ में बैठी. निकटस्थ माया तार झपटिया धरे. Maya will pounce upon you, and now you are under the clutches of Maya. पहले शुरुआत आपने की. You have used your free will to enjoy that. Once there was a sadhu. He was walking into the forest, and there was a mango tree there. So he thought he was hungry, and he thought, let me, hit stone on this mango. Mango will come down. I will eat mango, and then my hunger will be satisfied, and then I will go on my journey. So as he was throwing the stone, somehow the mango fell down, and as he went to pick up the mango, there was another stone, and his foot hit that stone, or there was a wound on his foot. He did get the mango, but there was a wound on his foot now, and he was limping. He couldn't walk. And then as he reached his ashram, his disciples asked him, Maharaj, ye kya ho gaya? Maharaj, kaise ho gaya ye? तो महाराज ने कहा ये फल खाने का फल, ये फल खाने का फल। तो निकटस्थ माया तार झपट। Now Bhagavan will tell how to avoid that. We will have a solution very soon. Please hear attentively. So Mother Devahuti now tells, my dear Lord, that I am fallen to. So that's the question, right? Please dispel my illusion of aham mameti due to my false ego and created by your maya. Now Bhagavan Kapil Dev, after he heard her mother's plea or her surrendered requests out of surrender, he felt compassionate onto his mother, obviously. He felt compassionate onto her, right? And then he asked her, well, why are you surrendering to me? Way to surrender, another important point. Then Mata Devahuti further states, Tamtva gataham sharnam sharanyam swabhritya samsar taro kutaram jignasayaham prakate purushasya namami saddharma vidam vaishta. She says, my dear Lord, Tamtva gataham sharnam sharanyam. You are the only one who is worthy of taking shelter of. So that is why I am taking shelter at your lotus feet. And your other qualities, swabhritya samsar taro kutaram. आपके जो भक्त हैं, your devotees, ये जो संसार रूपी उनका वृक्ष है, the tree. What is that tree? Urdhumulam adham shakam. Who's reading 15th chapter? Parnani yasya chandani. Chandani yasya parnani. Yes. वेद उसकी वो है, पत्तियां हैं. So that tree. Right? So that tree, she is saying that, my dear Lord, you are like an axe and you can cut that tree. And you cut that tree, swabhritya, of people who are surrendered to you, who are your servants. So now I want to understand. Now it's a question. Jignasayaham prakate purushasya. Prakriti and Purush. Prakriti is enjoyed, Purush is the enjoyer. In the technical, without going too much into this, both men and women, they are enjoyer. They are sort of taking the form of Purusha. The Supreme Purusha, Supreme Lord, he is the enjoyer. But we all try to enjoy the Prakriti. So Prakriti is enjoyed and Purush is enjoyer. So she is asking, what is the difference between Prakriti and Purush? And I bow down to you, Namami Saddharma Vidam Varishtam. You are the topmost Varisht. You know the Saddharma, you know the principles of Saddharma, my dear Lord. So I'm asking you, because you cut this tree, this samsar rupi tree of your surrendered souls. So please, my dear Lord, please guide me. So this is where the hint of Prakriti and Purush and Sankhya philosophy will come in. Right? Because why, if I'm a spirit soul, why I'm so much attached to the matter? Jad chetan ki granthi bhai kaise? Kagbhushundi is telling Garudji that how Jad and Chetan ki granthi kaise ho sakti hai? You know, soul, how is soul connected to this Jad Padarth? How we are so connected to the soul, how we connected to these elements, right? And then that can be broken through a process. Yeah. So she's asking that. Now Bhagavan Kapil, again, he felt, and he now tells his mother that I am going to speak to you the same yoga which I had spoken earlier to the other Rishi Munis when they had asked this question. So he's not inventing something new. He says, I will speak to you the same science which I had spoken earlier. And what is that science? He says, Yoga Adhyatmika Pumsa. Yeah? Nishreyasyo. Yoga Adhyatmika Pumsam. So he says, Jo Adhyatma Yoga hai. Now understand. Adhyatma is Adhi and Atma. This is made of two words. Adhi is the Adhikar and proprietor and the servant. Right? So we are a servant, we are a Prakriti, you know, we are a material bodies. So Supreme Lord is on the top and we are part of the Prakriti. Right? So we need to understand that relationship between them. And for that, now Bhagavan Kapil Dev says Adhyatma Yoga. Adhyatma Yoga is the process through which, and Adhyatma Yoga is divided into three categories. And those categories are: number 1 is bhakti, number 2 is gyan, and number 3 is ashtanga yoga. These three processes, through these processes, we try to understand the relation with the Supreme. Bhakti is with devotional service we're doing. Gyan is through the knowledge, right? Through his knowledge, you try to understand he is supreme, I am his subordinate, right? And Ashtanga Yoga is, then you are trying to get away from the body, right? That's what you're doing, Ashtanga Yoga. You are realizing that I'm not this body, I'm soul through that process, right? आप हट करके आप शरीर को सता रहे हो, जो भी whatever things we are doing, right? So Bhagwan Kapil Dev is saying Yoga Adhyatmika Pumsa, right? Adhyatmik Yoga. And he says, by doing this, my mother, right? Atyanto Upakrishta, right? Right? By following this process very quickly or ultimately, they will be able to realize that Sukh and Dukh are same. They will not be differentiating. They understand that Sukh and Dukh are same. So Adhyatmik Yoga is the process, right? So he starts answering that question. And now he trying to unpack this statement. So let's unpack it together. So the first thing he's saying is the mind is the pivot. For this process, for us to follow this process, Bhagavan is saying mind is the pivot. So it all starts with the mind. Now how it starts with the mind? He says, Cheta khalo asya bandhaya muktaye cha atmano matam guneshu saktam bandhaya ratam va pumsi muktaye. Now it starts with the man and the mind. Okay. Bhagavan is saying, certainly mind is the reason for cause for the bondage and it is the cause for liberation. If mind is connected, if mind is attracted towards these various gunas, right, or activities which are propelled by the various gunas, if mind is attracted towards them, that becomes the reason for bondage. Or if mind is not connected to that, then it becomes the reason for liberation. If the mind is connected to the Supreme Lord, then it becomes the reason for liberation. Remember mind, I told you once earlier also, when once Surdas, he was blind, right? Surdas was blind and Krishna once came to help him. And as Krishna was going away, leaving Surdas, then Surdas challenged Krishna. He says, Bah chura ke jaat ho nirbal jaan ke moh. Hirde te more jai sako mard jaanu mein to. Okay, you are leaving me. You are going away from me. Mera haath chhod ke aap ja rahe ho. But try to go away from my heart. I challenge you, if you can leave my heart. So that is the point here Bhagavan Kapil Dev is saying. If our mind is connected to the Supreme Lord, that becomes the reason for liberation. If it is connected to these various sense gratifications, activities which are fueled by the gunas, then it becomes the reason for bondage. So mind is the pivot. Right? Okay, now next step. As if Mother Devahuti is asking, what are the symptoms of mind being liberated?
What is the meaning of pivot?
Pivot is, you can say, something which is hinging on this. कोई चीज उसके ऊपर बैठी है. Everything is hanging on. अगर इसका बैलेंस बिगड़ गया तो सब बिगड़ गया. Everything is hanging on to this point. And pivot is very pointy thing. So mind is the pivot. So Bhagavan says mind is the pivot, right? Now Mother Devahuti is asking, what are the symptoms? Right? Now he says, yes, the symptoms are aham mamabhimanotthai kamalobhadibhir malai vitam yadah mana shuddham asukham adukham samam. Now if you say my mind is liberated, then Bhagavan is explaining that. He says your mind symptoms are aham mamabhimanotthai, me and mine. If you have risen above that, if your mind is risen above me and mine concept, right? And when you are risen above me and mine, then Kam, Lobh, Adi, Bhir, Malai, Vitam, Yadam, Mana, Shuddham. If your mind is pure, has been purified by Kam and Lobh and Adi, jo mal hai, usse, right? Kam, you can, very simple example to understand. You desire $10,000 today. You get $10,000 tomorrow. वो काम हो गया. फिर अब आप सोचते हो उस $10,000 को कैसे सेव करना है, प्रोटेक्ट करना है. फिर उसमें लोभ आ गया.
then you do everything to protect it. First desired, and then लोभ आ गया. और mal कैसे है? If you don't get $10,000, then you get angry. Or if you lose it, then you get angry. So काम, लोभ and क्रोध. काम, क्रोध, मद, लोभ सब तात नरक के पंथ. ये सब नरक में ले जाने वाले हैं. भगवान कृष्ण ने भी कहा है, Lord Krishna is also saying in Bhagavad Gita, त्रिविधम नरकस्य इदम द्वारम तस्माद एतत् त्रयं त्यजेत. These three are door to hell. Oh Arjun, therefore remove these three. Get rid of these three: Kam, Krodh, and Lobh. So that's what Bhagwan Kapil is saying. Now, first, he's saying mind is the pivot. Now, for you to understand that my mind is clean, you can do your self-check every day. Right? Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur used to say, when you go to bed, beat your head 100 times with your shoes. On your shoes 100 times on your head. When you wake up, again your shoes 100 times. That आज मैंने ये करना है, आज ये नहीं करना है. Everyone has their own process. Or you chant Mahamantra 100 times. Whatever works for you. But this is the pivot. No other question. No other option. Ashtanga Yoga, whatever you do, it won't work for you. However, how much bank balance you have, how much house you have, whatever you have, it won't work. This is the only process. That's what we have to understand and tell our mind again. This is the only process. So, what is the symptom? Kama lobha dibhir malai vitam yada manas shuddham asukham adukham samam. Asukh kya hai? Dukh hai. Adukh kya hai? Sukh hai. Then you consider this to be same. So that is your next stage. Okay? You together? Okay. The next one. And then, as if he's asking, then what happens? Then Bhagavan says to Mother Devuti that once you get into that state, then the next step is, then you are able to see. Tada Purusha Prakate Param. Right? Then you are able to see the soul. So your mind is cleaned. Now Prakate Param, which is beyond the material this thing, then now you are able to see the soul. Sometimes we tell each other, Prabhu, he's such a beautiful soul. We don't know what we're saying. We just say he's just a beautiful soul. Because he has helped you put your things from here to there, or he has called you after you were sick, right? And then you feel so good, and then you say, oh, he's such a beautiful soul. Start saying these things, right? But really to see the soul, this is the process. Then you start seeing the soul, and then Bhagavan says, Bhaktaya, Bhakti ke dwara, right? Yoga yuktena, Bhakti Yoga ke dwara, right? And then you are able to see the soul properly. Right? Now, as if Bhagavan, Mother Devuti is asking from Bhagavan, what is the glory of Bhakti? What are the symptoms of Bhakti? Why shall I do Bhakti? Then Bhagavan Kapil Dev tell us, Na yujya manaya bhaktya bhagavati akhilatmani. Bhakti ab kiski karni? Are we together? So the first step is mind is the pivot. When mind is clean, then you are able to see the soul. And you are able to see the soul which is beyond this matter. Now she is asking that, okay, if you say that, you know, I am full of bhakti with the devotion if I am doing it, then Bhagavan is telling, bhakti bhi kiski? Na yujya manaya bhaktya bhagavati akhilatmani. Sadrisho asti shiva pantha yogi nam brahma siddhaye. So he's saying that all the people who have understood the Supreme Lord, जिन्होंने ब्रह्म को सिद्ध कर लिया है, जिन्होंने ब्रह्म को समझ लिया है, all those so-called yogis, they are performing the worship of, or they are glorifying the Supreme Lord. वो कौन है? भगवती. भक्ति किसकी कर रहे हैं? भगवान की. उसकी वो भक्ति करते हैं, उसके साथ वो dovetail कर लेते हैं. Now Mother Devuti ask next, then she asks the next question. But then how do I get that bhakti? You following this series now? How do I get the bhakti? Then Bhagavan says, prasangam ajram pasham. ये जो पाश है, this material attachment का जो पाश, उसको क्या बोलते हैं इंग्लिश में? Noose. Somebody put around your neck. So he's saying this prasangam, प्रत्यक्ष रूप से जो आप देख रहे हैं, यू आर संग कर रहे हैं, यू आर अटैच, दिस मटेरियल अटैचमेंट, ये जो पाश है अजरम, इट नेवर गेट्स ओल्ड. प्रसंगम अजरम पाशम, इट नेवर गेट्स ओल्ड. सी, अटैचमेंट नेवर गेट्स ओल्ड, राइट? Attachment always stays the same, right? Right? माया मरी ने मन मरा, मर मर गए शरीर, आशा तृष्णा ना गई, कहे गए दास कबीर. माया नहीं मरी, मन नहीं मरा, बट शरीर चलता गया. So that's what he's saying. प्रसंगम अजरम पाशम आत्मन कवियो विदु, स एव साधु सुकृत मोक्ष द्वारम अपावृता. So he says that attachment, the noose of attachment is so strong. My dear mother, that noose of attachment is so strong, it never gets old. Rather, it gets stronger and stronger with the age. And the only way to get rid of that is that if that same attachment is done to sadhus, sa eva sadhu sukrita moksha dwaram apavrata. The door for liberation opens if that same attachment is done to the sadhus. Mother Devhuti says, okay, my dear Lord, you saying sadhu. Now, who is a sadhu? Right? Who is a sadhu? So, Bhagavan Kapil Dev now starts describing the qualities of the sadhu. Right? So, he describes the secondary characteristics. Now, focus on this. Titikshava karunikah suhridah sarvadehi nam ajat shatravah shanta sadhava sadhu bhushan. Right? So, the first quality, secondary qualities of a sadhu is titikshava, he is very tolerant. Karunika, he is compassionate. Sarva dehina. Dehina means whoever has a dehi, because they can only see a body. Whether it is an ant, whether it is a animal, whoever. All the creatures who have a bodily form, so they are compassionate towards all of them. Ajat shatrava, they don't have any enemy. Ajat matlab not born. Their enemy is not born. Ajat. That's why Yudhishthira was called Ajat Shatru. उनका कोई शत्रु पैदा ही नहीं हुआ. Duryodhana and all, they were there, but they ultimately realized that he's good. So Ajat Shatrava, Shanta, they're always peaceful. Sadhava, right? Sadhu Bhushana, he knows the scriptures and he is the ornament of the sadhus. So these are the secondary characteristics. And then she says, okay, Bhagwan mein samajh gayi, these are the second. What are the primary characteristics of the sadhu? Bhakti mai kurvanti dridham. So first qualification, these people can be so-called, starting a charity, serving free food, all those things. But that is not the underlying principle. There are chances of fall down even if you are doing this. But if you are not doing bhakti, so bhakti is the primary criteria. Yeah, bhakti mai dradham, with strong conviction, they perform my devotional service. That is their primary. Tapanti vividhas tapa tyakta swajan bandhava. For me, my dear mother, they go through so many problems. Bahut tap, like Prahlad Maharaj. They go through so many difficulties in their life. You all go through so many difficulties, right? But if those difficulties are just for maintaining the body or your kith and kin, that's what Bhagavan is saying. Tyakt swajan bandhava, so-called mere log, so-called my people and my brothers. Tyakt, unko chhod dete mere liye. So these are their secondary characteristics, sadhu. And then what are their activities? Now Bhagavan is saying, yes, if you want to identify sadhu, madashraya katham mrishta kathayanti shravanti cha. They take my shelter. They are fully surrendered to me. Katham mrishta, they enjoy my pastimes. Shravanti, they hear. And kathayanti cha, they speak my pastimes. They hear my pastimes. So that is their activities. So you understand? Once again, are we following the sequence? Right? Mind. First, the mind is the pure. Then mind is cleaned by getting rid of your calm and low, all these things, right? And you will understand how to get rid of them. So you can take it other way. Right? So through this process, it is not mechanical thing, it is not mental gymnastic, right? And once you have done that, then he's saying only by bhakti you can do that. Then a question, how do I get the bhakti? Bhakti, my mother, you get the bhakti from the sadhus, association of sadhus. Then who are the sadhus? How do I identify? Mother, my dear mother, these are their characteristics. These are primary characteristics. These are secondary characteristics. And these are their activities. This is how you do that. And now as if mother is asking, what do I do in the association of sadhus? Yeah. Satam prasanga. This is this verse is the most important verse in Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. 3:25-25. Remember this verse. Right? It is spoken by many acharyas, many commentaries you will see. Right? And you may please repeat with me. Satam prasanga mama virya samvido.
Satam prasanga mama virya samvido.
Bhavanti hrit karna rasayana katha. Bhavanti hrit karna rasayana katha. Tad joshanada shu apvarga vartmani. Joshanada shu apvarga vartmani. Shraddha ratir bhakti anukramashyati. Shraddha ratir bhakti anukramashyati. So this is the process summed up by Bhagavan Kapil Dev. So what Bhagavan is saying is Satam prasangat mama virya samvido. In the association of Sat, people who are in the mode of goodness, discuss my mama virya samvido. My pastimes samvido. They speak, you hear, they speak. Like this. Right? We talk each other. And by doing that, Bhavanti hrit karna rasayana katha. You know how they say there is a chemistry between these two people. We never say there is a physics between these two people. There is a chemistry. Chemistry means there is a natural connection. So similarly, these pastimes, they become chemistry, or there is a natural connection in our heart. Because we are part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, when we hear his pastimes, so there is a natural connection. And their natural connection for hrit and karna. Through the ears, they go into our heart. Bhavanti hrit karna rasayana katha. And by doing that, tad joshanad ashu apvarga vartmani. By the force of this chemistry between hearing these pastimes in the association of devotees, ashu, very quickly, apvarga vartmani, on the path of liberation. The Jeev, the living entity, my dear mother, he progresses on the path of liberation very quickly. Ashu. Bhagavan Shiva is called Ashutosh. So that's where the word Ashu comes. By the force of that. And what happens? Shraddha ratir bhakti anukramash. Shraddha. The first to develop is Shraddha, faith. Then you develop rati, love, attraction. And then bhakti automatically. He says sadhu sangha is required in the first stage and sadhu sangha is required in the second stage also. So first stage sadhu sangha required for what? To hear the katha and to get that connection. And once you, through that sadhu sangha, you have developed an attraction for katha through that sadhu sangha, then you require more sadhu sangha to actually progress on the marg of bhakti. So sadhu sangha is required before and sadhu sangha is required after. Right? Understand? It is not as if mera initiation ho gaya, I got my initiation, now I don't need sadhu sangha, I'm liberated. Right? There are those misconceptions. Sadhu sangha is required before and it requires more afterwards. Right? So Bhagavan now explained to Mother Devaki that ye bhi ho gaya. And then Krishna Katha in the association of Sadhu. And then how do we discuss Krishna Katha? Then Bhagavan is saying, Bhaktya Puman Jat. Now she's still saying that my question was Indriya. Yena Sambhavya Manena Prapanna Andham Tamak Prabhu. That's what she said in the beginning, verse number 7. right? These senses are probably. So Bhagavan now puts her piece. He says that bhaktya puman jat vairagya indriya. Through the process of devotional service, the living entity, he slowly get detachment from the sense gratification. And how does that he get that? So Bhagavan then again says, Drishta Shrutan Mad Rachna Nuchintaya. Drishta, by seeing. Now you look around. I mean, do you think you have created this? You can make an arrangement for a water tank on the top of your house. Who has created these oceans? Where does the water come from? You have to think of his arrangement. Where is the food coming from? Even the ants are getting food who are under the rocks. So like this, you drashta. That just does not mean you see. You see and think. You see and think, my dear Lord, why when we started the class, there was a lizard inside. Right? Lizard, small lizard. Prabhuji had to take her out. And I was thinking, how she got here? She was listening to the holy name. She has to get liberation also, right? And one of us could be lizard in our next life. We can be anything, right? You want to live in a palace, you might not want to live, you might not get a chance to live as a human being, but you can be cockroach, you can be insect, you still live in a palace. But because as per your karma, you get the body. Remember when we discuss about the whole creation in the second canto and first canto, you may recall that, how we get our bodies, right? So like this, Bhagavan is telling Mother Devahuti, in the association, you discuss the pastimes and you discuss the pastimes, you can control your senses by doing what? Drishta Shrutan Mad Rachana Anuchinta. उसके बारे में चिंता करो, सोचो उसके बारे में, बार-बार सोचो उसके बारे में. There is a fire somewhere, there is a flood somewhere. Why is that? Think about it. Why am I not born in a poor country? Why am I here? So we have to think like, what good have I done? Like this we think, and then slowly we'll realize, yes, my dear Lord, it is all your mercy. It is all because of your mercy that I'm in this position. And then Shraddha, Rati, Bhakti, Anukramashati. In this sequence, then that will develop. Okay. I have to rush through now, but I hope. So this is just next set of questions we'll be discussing later. So now Mother Devahuti is further asking. Now she has understood that bhakti. Okay, are we together? You understand the sequence? Now next question she is asking, what bhakti is the proper bhakti? Very layman question. What kind of bhakti? Kachit tvai uchita bhakti kidrishi mama gochara. Okay, Lord, you have spoken about the bhakti, you have spoken about association, and you have that culminates into the bhakti. Now, what is your proper bhakti? Tell me. Mama gochara, which I can perform with my senses. Gochar, go as in senses, right? Which is not beyond my senses. Please tell me what I can do. And the other question she asking is, explain the jnana by which one understands the tattva. This will be answered in the next few chapters, 26, 27. We will discuss that. Right? And then finally she's asking, explain the yoga aimed at the Lord for liberation. How many limbs does it have? Yo yogo bhagavad vanu, she's asking. We say karma yoga, bhakti yoga, jnana yoga, they're all yoga. So she's saying they're all like arrows that I'm shooting at the Lord. Through that yoga, I'm actually taking myself to the Lord. That is the thought process, right? So which is that yoga? I want to know that. So I want you to contemplate on these questions, and then you will be able to appreciate the answers and the future. So she asked these questions. Now Bhagavan Kapil Dev, he answers the question number 2. So she has asked Kachit Tvai Uchita Bhakti. Now Bhagavan is saying one of the qualities of the Uchit Bhakti is Naik Atmakam. Right? Naik Atmakam is people who wants to be one with the Supreme Lord. That is not the Bhakti. Some people say, I want to merge in the Supreme Lord. I want to become one with the existence. No, that is not the Bhakti. If you become one with the Lord, tomorrow if your son says, कि पापा मुझे आपके अंदर घुसना है, पापा I love you so much, मैं आपके अंदर घुसना चाहता हूँ. आप बोलोगे क्या भाई, कैसे घुसोगे? नहीं पापा, I love you so much and I really admire you. I want to become one with you. And dad says, are you crazy? If you love me so much, if you care for me, ठीक है मेरी सेवा करो, मुझे पानी ला के दो, serve me the food, take care of me, give me some medicine, right? But एक होने का क्या मतलब? ढुकना है मुझे आपके अंदर, मैं एक होना चाहता हूँ आपके साथ. That's not bhakti. कैसे हो गए? तो ऐसे ही same process. He is the Supreme Father. Why would you become one with him? Then where is the bhakti? How will you serve him? Bhakti means loving devotion service. So that's what he's answering. Naik atmakam. वो एक नहीं होना चाहते. मत पाद. Actually, now I need my glasses. मत पाद सेवा भी रता. Can you read that?
Yes.
Mat Pad Seva Virata. They want to perform service at my lotus feet. These are the symptoms. Now you can compare yourself, you can ask yourself. So these are the symptoms Bhagavan is telling you. And then what he says? The next one he's saying, Sabhajayante Mama Paurushani. Sabhajayante. Bhajayante means enjoy, relish. Mam Paurushani. Meri activities ko wo relish karte hain. They discuss my pastimes. Bhagwan ne makhan chura liya. Last week we celebrated Vaman Dwadashi. We all were relishing how Lord Vaman Dev came. Right? Now next month Damodar, we will be singing Damodar Ashtakam every day. Every day we will be singing the same Leela. Why? Because Bhagwan band gaye. Jin bandho sur asur naganar prabal karam ki dor. Soi prachin Prabhu Yasomati Hat Bandho Sakat Nacho. That Supreme Lord who has bound all the yogis, all the living entities, Nag, Nar, Dev, everyone, Prabal Karam ki door, they are all bound by the rope of their karma. Soi Prachinna Brahma. Prachin is who is ever present. Sarvavyapi. That Supreme Lord who is present everywhere, how can he be bound? That's why we get together and celebrate. Mam Paurushani. So that is a symptom of the divinity. So we do that. Then further he says, Prasanna Vaktur Aruna Lochanani. They like to see my smiling face. They come and take my darshan. When you come here, what do you think? Radha Parthasarthi waits for you. He likes to see you as well. Bhagwan Ram ne to challenge kariya. He's given a promise. Sammukh jeev ho hi mohi jab hi janma koti agar na sahi tab. As soon as the Jivatma come in front of me, all his lifetime of sins gets destroyed. This is Bhagwan Ram's challenge. But the trouble is we come here, we wash out, we go out, we do so many again, we come back. What can Lord do? But this is Lord's promise. So Lord is saying, they want to come and look at me. They want to see my red eyes like sun, glowing sun. They see that. Rupani divyani vara pradhani. They want to see my beautiful forms. Right? Vacham spriyani. They speak about, what I have spoken. Like this. I have to rush through, please, Prabhuji Maharaj. You can read. Bhaktir anikshato me gatim anvim prayukate. They don't desire any gati. They don't desire even liberation. But I give them. They don't desire, but I give them the liberation. They get the liberation automatically. Right? So that is the symptoms. You need to understand. And then Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam Vasprihiyanti Bhadram Parasya Mete Shunvate tu loke. Right? They don't want any go to my lokas also. They don't want any siddhis, ashta siddhi. Right? Like sometimes you want to become smaller than the atom. You can become greater than the atom. You can enter into someone else's body. All these siddhis, but they don't ask for this. Even though I can give them, it is attainable to them, but they don't ask for it. So that's where we have to check ourselves. When I'm coming to worship the Lord, why am I coming? What is my intent? Right? What I'm asking? Yesham aham priya atma, and for I am the most beloved for them. They think of me as their sakha, as their friend. They think of me as their guru, right? Suhrido, Daivam Ishtam, Sutascha, मुझे अपना बेटा मानते हैं, मुझे अपना well-wisher मानते हैं. They establish those relationships with me, right? So these are the symptoms of bhakti. Right? काचित्वयि उचिता भक्ति. So you understand the answer. What was the question? आपकी भक्ति उचित कैसी? तो भगवान बता रहे. ठीक है. And they say भजन्ति अनन्य भक्तया ताम मृत्योर अत पारे. And they worship me with ananya bhav. Exclusively they worship me. And when they do that, my dear mother, I take them beyond the birth and death. I take them completely beyond birth and death. And then she says, oh, really, my dear Lord? He says, yes. And now as if she is asking that if they are worshipping you exclusively, what about demigods? He says, na anyatra mad bhagavata. There is no one else. Mad bhagavata. I am the Bhagavan. Right? Atmanah sarva bhutani. I am the soul of all the living entities. There is no one else. I am the soul of all the living entities. Right? And tivram bhayam nivartate. The fear of birth and death. Nobody can liberate them from the fear of birth and death. And then she says, okay, exclusively they worship you. Yes, exclusively worship me as Ram, Krishna, or in my Purusha avatars. Because I am the soul of everyone. I am the Bhagwan. Right? I am the Pradhan. Right? And then she asks, what about demigods? He says, demigod, mad bhayad vatu vatiyam. Surya stapati mad bhayad. Vrashati indro. Dahati agnir. Mrityus charati mad bhayad. Then Supreme Lord declares that from my fear, mad bhayad vati vatu. From my fear, the air blows. Surya stapati mad bhayad. The sun gives warmth because of my fear. Varshati Indro. Indra gives rain because of my fear. Dahati Agnir. Fire burns because of my fearing from me. Right? Mrityus charati mad bhayat. What to speak of anyone else, my dear mother? The Mrityu, right? Yamraj, they operate under fearing me. So I am the one. Right? If they exclusively worship me, right, I take care of them. I am the one who protects them. And then finally the Supreme Lord says that through this process, my dear mother, even the yogis, right? Bhakti yuktena, after performing all the bhakti, right? Yoginam, all the yogis, they also come and take my shelter. They come and take a shelter. Akuto bhayam, right? They become fearless. Pravishanti, they enter into my kingdom or they enter under my lotus feet to become fearless. That is the topmost bhakti. And then today's verse. What is today's verse? Etavaneva lokesmin.
Etavaneva lokesmin.
Pumsam nishreyasodaya.
Pumsam nishreyasodaya.
Tivrena bhakti yogena.
Tivrena bhakti yogena.
Manomai arpitam sthiram.
Manomai arpitam sthiram.
And then finally it culminates into that Bhagavan says, oh my dear mother, that etavan eva lokesmin, in this world, pumsam, for the living entities, nishreyaso udaya, their greatest fortune arises. Udaya hona. जैसे कहते हैं सूर्य उदय हो गया, sun rises. Either they attain, you can say either they attain or their greatest fortune arises. When? Tivrena bhakti yogena, with the spontaneous devotion towards me. Tivra, spontaneous devotion. The moment you say Krishna, in your mind you get Damodar Bhagavan picture, or you get Shyam Sundar picture, or you get Parthasarthi Bhagavan picture. That is called Tivra. Right? If you say, let's say if you say Bhavin, in your mind you will have Bhavin's picture straight away, right? You will have picture of your son. You will have picture of your mother. The moment you hear the name, right, picture comes. But when you say Krishna, does any picture come? Does this Laddu Gopal come in your picture? Jagannath Bhagavan come in your picture? Narsimha Bhagavan come in your picture? Gaurnitai come in your mind? Like this, we have to challenge ourselves. That is called Tivra Bhakti. तीव्रेण भक्ति योगेन, राइट, मनोमय अर्पितम स्थिरम, मन मुझको अर्पण कर देते, माय माइंड, दे गिव मी देयर माइंड, एंड स्थिर, बाय स्टडीली दे गिव देयर माइंड टू मी, माय डियर मदर, दैट इज द स्पॉन्टेनियस भक्ति. So we'll stop now. Any questions or comments? I hope you followed the sequence. ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की, श्रील प्रभुपाद की, गौर प्रेमानंदे.
हरे बोल. जय.
Okay, Pavan Prabhuji, Harika Mataji, Kavita Mataji, we take your leave now. It was a long session, but yeah, thank you very much for your association.